Welcome back to the program. So the first thing that I want to talk about is the fact that there's been 129 fake injunctions from activist judges against President Trump already. Okay, 129. He had 64 all of his 4 years in his first term, and he has 129 already. Okay, that is by far the most in history. And what are they doing? They're trying to stop him. They're trying to slow walk his agenda, and they're doing whatever they can to interfere. And in the end, they're going to lose. Okay, there's no question about that. But it is a disastrous situation because now they have to appeal all these different decisions, which of course takes time away from going after the really bad actors and the really bad criminals. And that's what they're doing right now. You have these left-wing idiot judges that are over inundating them. They are doing the shock and awe, basically, but against President Trump and his administration. And it needs to stop. And it should stop. Now, the one thing that I talked about a couple days ago, maybe a week ago, was the new executive order that he put out that basically said that they had to put money up in order to do these injunctions. So I'm not sure what's happening. How are these judges continuing to do this and these plaintiffs coming out of the woodwork to do this if they have to now put out money? Are they not putting out the money? Is the executive order just for show? I don't know. I'll have to get into that a little bit further. But anyway, so this one idiot, besides Boasberg and the rest of them, this one guy, Chang, basically said that what Elon Musk and DOGE did to USAID was unconstitutional. And therefore, he wants them to stop shutting it down, number one. And number two, possibly even bringing back the people that they fired. Okay, now I can tell you right now, that's never going to happen. Okay, the Department of Justice is not playing around anymore. They're going to continue to do what they're doing. And Elon Musk has outsmarted them. Checkmate. One of the things that this idiot judge said was this: for the foregoing reasons, the court finds that the defendant's actions taken to shut down USAID on an accelerated basis, including its apparent decision to permanently close USAID's headquarters without the approval, here it is, without the approval of a duly appointed USAID officer, remember that, likely violates the United States Constitution in multiple ways, and for these reasons and actions harmed not only the plaintiffs but also the public interest because they, quote, deprive the public's elected representatives in Congress of their constitutional authority to decide whether, when, and how to close down an agency created by Congress, the judge wrote in his 68-page bullshit filing. Well, Elon Musk is not a dumb man, okay? He may have Asperger's, he may talk differently, he may look a little bit different, he may be a little bit socially awkward, apparently not with the ladies, right? 14 and counting. But he's a smart person. And he took a look at that and he said, oh, well, wait a minute. I got an idea. If that's what you need, you want someone appointed, no problem. So guess what he did? They appointed somebody from DOGE into a senior level position at USAID. So this judge can sit on this and rotate once again. Okay? So here's what they did. It appears that DOGE figured out a way to checkmate this judge. A senior DOGE official has now taken over USAID and will have the authority 100% over the entire agency. In an email obtained by the Associated Press, Pete Morocco, a Trump appointee in the State Department who was serving in a leadership role at USAID, revealed the change. The email was sent on the same day that Judge Chang issued his crazy, absurd ruling. A senior official at Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is taking on a senior leadership role at the U.S. Agency for International Development, giving DOGE direct authority over the entire agency that it has worked to dismantle, according to an email obtained by them. Pete Morocco, a Trump administration political appointee who was serving as the deputy head of USAID, disclosed the change in an email to State Department staff. It comes after Morocco and DOGE oversaw the gutting of 83% of USAID contracts, shifting the remaining programs under the State Department. Now, here's where it gets even better. Morocco wrote that Secretary of State Marco Rubio will effective immediately designate Jeremy Lewin as Deputy Administrator for Policy and Programs at USAID and as their Chief Operating Officer. So hey, Chingy Chang, you just got outsmarted by Elon Musk. Bye-bye. That's number one. Next. So, we are finally arresting somebody. Finally. Is it who we want? Is it Adam Schiff? No. Is it a number of other different people? The judges? No. Is it, I don't even know. So many other bad actors? No. But it is an FBI agent. And they caught them as they were getting ready to board an international flight to escape justice. That's right. Anti-Trump FBI agent arrested for disclosing classified information. Feds nabbed him as he was boarding a plane internationally to get out of the country. Jonathan Buma allegedly disclosed internal classified documents and text messages to associates. Court documents reveal that Jonathan Buma had printed 130 files from the FBI's internal network, with many of the documents marked with warnings that the information was indeed confidential. Buma shared a draft of a book that he was writing about his career, you'd be writing it from jail now, in the FBI with his colleagues, and it contained sensitive, classified information, the charging documents relay. According to ABC News, the feds nabbed Jonathan Buma just as he was about to hop on an international flight Monday. So let's see. 15-year veteran of the Bureau as well. Where was he going? Did they say where he was going? Probably to a country that didn't have extradition would be my guess. Beginning in October 2023, Buma printed approximately 130 files from the FBI's internal network, some of which were clearly marked as classified. Let's see. In the ensuing weeks, Buma allegedly shared a draft again of his book. We talked about that. And let's see. Are they showing? No, they're not saying where. He was also going after Rudy Giuliani, and he was part of the Russia garbage as well. He was a low-level person at that point. But, they're not showing and they're not telling where he was going. And maybe they're doing that for good reason, because they don't want these idiots to know what countries and what countries do not, and what countries do have extradition treaties with the United States. But anyway, he's looking at probably 10, 15 years in jail, and stripping him of his pension and everything else. So there's one. What do we got? 8,000 more to go, right? Something like that. So we'll see. Okay, now before I get into this story, I want to talk about this story. So let's see. Let's go here. Okay. So these Tesla violence and these protests and these keying of cars and blowing them up with Molotov cocktails and all this other crazy stuff. Well, apparently the Teslas all have a built-in sensory recognition system that does not just face reading, but it does biometrics and all this other stuff. So these people are dead to rights. We know who every single one of them is. We know where they are. We know where they live. We know everything about them. And now Pam Bondi has a team set up that is working on two things in particular: swatting and the Tesla protests. Okay? And she has said that she's not only going to go after them all, but she's going to charge them as domestic terrorists. Now, why is that important? Because if the Department of Justice charges you as a terrorist, you are looking at 20 years minimum, okay? No such thing as 5 or 10 or anything like that or good behavior. No, you're talking federal prison, and you're going to serve the full 20 years at a minimum, all right? So what I decided to do is kind of help her out a little bit, because she said that whoever is funding this, she's going to go after them as well. Okay, fair enough. Well, then it looks like you're going to be going after George Soros. It looks like you're going to be going after a whole bunch of other people. And it looks like you're already, thankfully, going after Act Blue. So here are 5 leftist organizations that are right now funding these horrific attacks against Tesla. Number 1, the Indivisible Project. The Indivisible Project is a Washington-based nonprofit and has been almost entirely financed by the Open Society Institute, which is, of course, George Soros. They are coordinating a cross-country protest against Elon Musk, empowering, quote, grassroots affiliates to, quote, stop Trump Musk as any way they can, according to their own website. The group took in more than $7.6 million from the Open Society Institute. It was originally set up in 2016 to protest, of course, the election of Donald J. Trump. Indivisible Action, a related political action committee, has raised over $9 million, public records show. And let's see here. Indivisible Action's anti-Musk activities include posting toolkits on its website for a, quote, Musk or Us march, demonstration planned for next week during the government's spring break. The toolkit includes graphics for signs reading GTFO, get the Musk, and fire Elon Musk. In addition to Soros, the group has received $2 million from the Sandler Foundation, which funds groups such as the progressive news platform ProPublica. Herbert Sandler, a New York-born banker, set up the foundation with his wife Marion in 1991 and has given out more than $1.2 billion, that's right, billion dollars to progressive nonprofits, according to its own website. Let's see. That was one. Democratic Socialists of America, right? They're always involved in all of this crap. So let's see. DSA claims on its own website that it is the, quote, largest socialist organization in the United States with over 92,000 members and chapters in all 50 states. On March 6th, the group posted on their Instagram, every Friday we are going and joining workers and community organizers at the Henry M. Jackson Federal Building in downtown Seattle to protest the fascist billionaire takeover of our democracy. See you on Friday at 11:30. This group also posted numerous videos of its members protesting outside Tesla buildings and made numerous Musk posts on its various social media platforms. The group has several chapters across the country. The New York City-based group, Democratic Socialists of America, Inc., has received revenue of more than $6.1 million, according to public filings. Some chapters across the country even support financially Hamas after the terrorist group's October 7th, 2023 attack. And also, they support Hezbollah and they support other terrorist organizations. So you literally have the Democratic Socialists of America supporting terrorist organizations, which makes sense because they're a terrorist organization as well. Disruption Project. Philadelphia-based Disruption Project provides training for grassroots militants to protest climate change and is currently in default with the IRS, according to public records. Disruption Project, whose latest federal filing shows just over $28,000 in its coffers, is linked to Action Network, a group established as a result of the Occupy Wall Street protests in New York back in 2011. Action Network was founded by Mark Fleischman, a former union organizer who was vice president of the Service Employees International Union, SEIU, New York City's most powerful union. Action Network has helped Democrats through Disruption Project and other grassroots groups organize a, quote, Tesla takedown last month, encouraging consumers to, quote, sell your Tesla and dump your stock. The Joint Disruption Project Action Network also listed the addresses of Tesla dealerships for protesters to target across the country on its website. Now, there's been another website called DOGEquest, right, .com or whatever. I looked it up and it says that the website is down. So that's good, meaning maybe somebody actually knocked it out because it was horrific. They were listing every single Tesla owner's name and address. You want to talk about doxing? Holy shit. They were doxing every single Tesla owner in the country. These people are not protesters. They're not opposition. They are outright violent domestic terrorists, and they all need to go to jail for 20 years or more. I'd love to say something else, but I'll hold my tongue, if you know what I mean. Another one is called Rise and Resist. The New York-based Rise and Resist has also organized protests against Elon Musk, publishing a social media toolkit on its website linked to a, quote, Tesla takedown. Disruption Project, Rise and Resist, also appears to be in default with the IRS. See, they have no more money. You know why they have no more money? Because all these left-wing douchebags are being cut off by the big-time donors, or at least the majority of them. And they were being supplied by these big-time Democrat donors to do all the dirty work, right? It's kind of like China, right? China might be the brains and the operations behind North Korea. North Korea is China's junkyard dog. So when they want something done, they go to North Korea. Do you see what I'm saying? So the same thing is happening here. The big donors can say, well, I'm just writing a check. And then that's it, plausible deniability. And then it goes to these psychotic radical extremists who then do all the violence and all the dirty work. But now they're going out of business because they don't have any more money, because the big donors that lost $2 billion on Heels Up Headboard Harris said, sorry, no more money's coming to you. So that's a good thing. Rise and Resist. Let's see. Default with the IRS shows they have $30,000 left in revenue, public records. The group organized a recent picket of the Tesla dealership in the meatpacking district where 6 protesters were arrested for lighting cars on fire. Rise and Resist describes itself as a, quote, non-violent direct action group committed to opposing, disrupting, and defeating any government act that threatens democracy, equality, and our civil liberties, according to their bullshit website. Okay? And then there's another group called Troublemakers. Yeah, they actually call themselves Troublemakers. Another Seattle-based radical environmental organization committed to taking action for life on Earth. So imagine that. You've got all these environmental wackos that many of them bought Teslas because, of course, Tesla is not only an American company, but it's, electric, so it's good for the environment and all that. But it's never been about that. It's always been about power. That's it. They don't care about the environment. They've never cared about the environment. If they cared about the environment, they wouldn't take, giant jets and, jetliners to these, summits in the middle of Switzerland or wherever the hell they go. Right? So what I'm saying is they're all just complete garbage. They don't care about the environment, clearly, because they're blowing up electric vehicles. I mean, what's worse than lithium for the sky and for the air quality, right? They don't give a shit. Unbelievable. So this based group, they collect donations through Action Network, so they're connected to Action Network. And remember, Action Network is a subsidiary and close to George Soros as well as Act Blue. Committed to, quote, championing environmental issues. Yeah, that's why they're blowing up Teslas, right? We cannot stand aside while racial capitalism and neocolonialism destroy this beautiful planet for all the benefit of a few. Troublemakers has also been involved in the Tesla takedown events at the Tesla dealerships in and around King County near Seattle. So, there you have it. There's just a few, but I saved the best for last. Why? Well, because of this one right here. Apparently, it looks like somebody who was married to somebody that was very close and good friends with Elon Musk, the ex-wife, is a big-time California Democrat donor and has also been funding a lot of these anti-Tesla protests. So you've got the Democratic Socialists of America, you've got the, Action Group, you've got Act Blue, you've got George Soros, and now you have this person here. Billionaire Steve Jurvetson, 58 years old, was an early investor in Tesla. He served on its board until December of 2020 and continues to sit on Elon Musk's SpaceX board. However, his ex-wife, California psychiatrist Carla Jurvetson, 58, doled out more than $500,000 to Indivisible Action, a political action group linked to the nonprofit directing the protests against Elon Musk, according to public records. Indivisible, Washington-based advocacy group, is sponsoring Musk or Usk. We went through all of that. So let's see. There's pictures of the two of them together. Its website states, support the massive organizing efforts it's going to take to defend our democracy and one another against Trump's authoritarian agenda. The group stands against Musk and his leadership of the Department of Government Efficiency in an initiative to streamline the federal bureaucracy. Republicans are enabling Musk to make decisions and push policies that directly hurt working families while enriching billionaires like himself, the group says on its website. So imagine that. There's a little bit more here. Carla Jurvetson is known in Northern California as something of a Democratic mega donor. In addition to Indivisible, she gave more than $9.5 million to Democratic progressive candidates, including former New York Rep. Jamal Bowman, who lost his re-election bid, thankfully, last year, Minnesota Rep. Ilhan Noor Saeed Elmi. She also donated more than $100,000 to Heels Up headboard Harris's Victory Fund in 2023. The Stanford-educated psychiatrist and mother of two married Jurvetson in 1990, filing for divorce in 2016, according to court records. A year later, Steve quit his venture capital firm Draper Fisher Jurvetson after it began an investigation into his romantic relationships with multiple women at the company. An internal investigation conducted by Draper Fisher Jurvetson found that Jurvetson had affairs with multiple women at the same time, said a report in Recode, a tech news website. The women who work in the tech industry met him at professional conferences. Well, hell hath no fury than a woman scorned. So there you go. Now, let me play this real quick. This is Pam Bondi, and here is what she had to say.
These are organized. These are not individuals out there throughout the country doing this on their own. They're targeting Tesla owners. They're targeting Tesla dealerships. They're targeting Elon Musk, who is out there trying to save our country, and it will not be tolerated. We are coming after you. We will find you. And if you are an organized group who is funding this, we're going to find you too. You better look out and you better stop it.
Interesting. So, according to what she just said, I'm going to just interpret that as she's going to go after George Soros, right? If we know for a fact that his organizations, the Open Society Institutes, Act Blue, many others, are funding these Tesla takedowns, these violent protests, and she said that they're going to go after not just the individuals, but they're going to go after the people funding it, that means that Pam Bondi is on record. I want everyone to understand this right now. Pam Bondi is on record saying that she will prosecute and go after George Soros, Alexander Soros, the Open Society Institute, the Democratic Socialists of America, Action, whatever the hell, Troublemakers, whatever the hell, Indivisible, whatever the hell, Act Blue, whatever the hell. So she's saying that she's going to go after these groups. We need to hold her accountable for what she just said. And trust me, I will do my best to try to do that. Unreal. Truly unreal what is happening. You know, it's amazing. It's like people like me that have always been a skeptic of Elon Musk. I've never been a big fan. Even when he took over X, I was still worried. I even did a show that out of 18 investors, 3 of them were Chinese, right? So I've always been skeptical about him, from Neuralink to Starlink to this to that to that. But now he was a darling of the left, and now he's hated by the left, and now he's loved by the right and by MAGA. It's amazing when you think about it. But he has now been able to see, the richest man in the world has been able to see the true Democrats, who they are, what they believe in, and how dangerous they are. And I do not believe that he's going to back down. I think he's the type of person that is going to say, you know what? I have a mission to get rid of this fraud, waste, and abuse, and I'm going to hold these people accountable, and I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing. I don't care what the judges say or anything. Is, by the way, he's now offering any Republican max amount of donations if they impeach these judges. So Elon's not going to back down, okay? And now he's pissed. He is pissed off. They're trying to take down his stock. They're taking down his vehicles and everything else. But guess what? He's the wealthiest person in the world. And trust me, Tesla, it ain't going to make a difference, folks, okay? He's got Tesla robots coming out. He's got AI. He's got SpaceX. He just rescued the astronauts. He's not going anywhere. But you know who are? The people funding these violent acts against Tesla and the people that are funding it. And these individuals and these groups. And they're so stupid because they have this Sentry or some kind of system in every single one of these Teslas that records everything. So all these people have been recorded. It's just a matter of time before they're all rounded up, arrested, and prosecuted. God willing. Those are my thoughts. What are yours? Put them down in the comments below. We'll see you in the next one.